Hey guys, so I'm sitting in my room because my daughter's in the shower and my computer is set up near her bathroom and it's just cold outside and I'm just sitting here on the floor, but it's okay. So it's a quite different element for you guys. You're not usually seeing me in here, but you are today. Starmer's Rent Boys. Starmer's Rent Boys. I'm assuming you're referring to the young men who were arrested, and they just arrested another guy. Some of them are from, their background is from East Europe, Ukraine, right? Somebody asked me if the youngest man who was arrested, I'm not sure where he was from. He might have been European. He could have been from the UK, but I don't really know. I didn't look him up or do any research on him. Is he Starmer's love child? Is he Starmer's love child? I get a no on that. Honestly, I do get a no, but let's just see. Backstabbed. Hold on. We need to pull another card for clarification. We need to pull one more card for that. Is one of the men who was arrested connected to Starmer's DNA? No. I get a no. However, there's this attachment, because if it was just a temperance to say no, it's probably a scandal, not connected to Keir Starmer himself. But we have the Ten of Swords, backstabbed. So there is no DNA element. There's no love child, but there is a unhealthy attachment. Okay? And I think I've said this before. I believe that one day the UK is going to have a Epstein file list of their own, and it's not necessarily connected to Jeffrey Epstein, but perhaps a man similar to Jeffrey Epstein at some point. It's being covered up, but it will be released. I'm not saying that Keir's on that, connected to that, but I think he's protecting someone. Okay, perhaps he is protecting someone who knows more about these arrests that have taken place. I have to watch very carefully what I'm saying and how I speak on this topic, because it's very sensitive material. You know, I think Starmer knows something took place that it probably should not have, and I don't think he was any part of it. I don't believe he was any part of it, but he does have knowledge, and maybe he's hiding it. We have the Empress in upright. This is a higher up. It's a feminine energy, but it could also be man. It signifies someone of somewhat authority, and it also represents a younger female. Another death card. This is all about endings. It doesn't literally mean, oh, I'm going to pass away today or tomorrow. It's change. There is something very dark and sinister around what happened with the fires. I am going to tell you guys something. Yes, I do believe there is a very unhealthy attachment to one of the men. I do not believe it is Keir Starmer, even though we know he's not a good guy. But I don't think he is predatorial, right? I don't feel like he's involved in that matter, but it's bloody insane. He's protecting someone. He's protecting someone. And I think that one day you guys are going to have a Jeffrey Epstein file list. Oh, yes, you will. And another thing I want to touch on regarding the UK. You know, I put out a video about what was going on, I felt like, here in the US in regards to the unrest, and who I believe is behind that. I also believe that this is going on. Yes, I do. Somebody asked me this. Yeah, I think it is starting to take place over in the UK, especially the UK, and that would be Britain. It could be all UK, but strongly London and Britain, if not now, in the near future. And I don't think it's the same country. You see, I believe that the country IS, real, is not really interested in the UK. They are more interested here in the States and other places. Other places. They are not, in my opinion, the ones you need to really worry about starting protests and working for the higher government. I think that you need to look at the embassy that's about to be built over in London. And I believe in my heart, and what I get strongly, is that that particular country may try to run, in fact will, and has been infiltrating, will try to run the British government, if that makes sense. And I'm talking about the new embassy. What country is coming in to build that? Who is funding it? Look at Keir Starmer. Look at him. He was just over there and he was promoting the leader of China while putting down the president of the United States. Okay, so he's just uplifting Mr. X, Mr. Xi Jinping, putting him on a pedestal. And you better stop and ask yourself. We know that the UK is in major debt, and we're going to get into that. And I think China is buying them out to some degree. Yeah. Seeking truth. So I believe the country ISR here is not taken over this country, but they are trying to control it more and more and more. And we have a leader who is defying them. And that's why we're seeing the things we're seeing in the streets and whatnot. And we have certain political figures that work for that particular country. And yeah, but the British, the UK, I see a different country trying to come in and infiltrate, and that would be China. Okay, I won't beat around the bush. That's what I'm saying. I sometimes feel like I do beat around the bush, but I feel like I have to make my point multiple ways, because some people don't understand how the world is. And yes, that's what I see. And I believe that if that's the case, they don't want anyone in reform to take over, because anyone from reform is going to be a lot like Trump. And China's taking notes, okay? They don't want to deal with someone like Trump over in the UK. So they're going to try to keep Starmer in power as long as they freaking can. And if he steps down or becomes ill, blah, 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 then they'll just put a fill-in in, probably from his same party. But that's not going to be temporary, like I said. I mean, permanent, excuse me. That won't be permanent. They're going to prolong and do all this stuff, put the stuff in the court system. But in the long run, it's going to go in reform's favor, but China is helping Starmer in some way. And that's why he's allowing this big Chinese embassy there, because they want to have some control over the West. Control. Just like is being done here. And Trump is trying to tear down the foundation there. It's hard. That's what JFK did when JFK caught word. And look what happened to JFK and his brother. But Keir Starmer is all on board. Joe Biden was all on board. And that man gave out lots of money. Page of Swords. There's a lot of pettiness going on around the world. Keir Starmer is acting petty because he thinks he has a new ally, and that is China. Okay. So that's what I have to say about the rent boys. I don't know who used that term, but it was in my comment section. There's a attachment that's unhealthy, and I feel like Keir Starmer is not the attachment, but he knows of the attachment of the person. And this person may have a young Empress energy around them too, which is interesting because Empress and upright, it does represent, again, a female, a young female, fertility, but it could also represent someone that's a man, born male, who has a lot of feminine energy around them. Does that make sense? It could be that as well. I just thought of that. But the Ten of Pentacles. So when I see this, I think of money. And even though it's an upright, that's a good position, right? It didn't come out like this. It came up like this, like, oh, I get the United States on the Ten of Pentacles. It feels stable. But the United States economy is in a dangerous position, yes. There's no way, there's no denying that. And the reason why is because a lot of money has been printed. So if you look at this card, you see all those pentacles coming down. Somebody had to print the star, had to put the star in there, sketch it out. But this becomes a natural debt. And believe it or not, every country has a national debt to some level, to some degree. Not as much as others, but we all have it. Because many countries have specific resources. Some have oil, some have minerals, some have gold and silver. Well, that falls underneath the minerals, but different things. But they are considered resources that can be borrowed and exchanged for something else. And believe it or not, guys, this is actually how the economy around the world globally works. You ever heard of that saying, borrow from Paul to Pete, Pete to Paul? That's pretty much how it works. And yes, the UK and Canada, they both have a lot of debt. And I could say huge public debt. And I think this is true for Germany as well. Considering they have cut back almost all of their funding to Ukraine, I'm talking low, to Ukraine. Why is that? Maybe because of Merz boy is running out of money, because he has maybe the most debt around the world, because they gave a lot of money to Ukraine, not as much as the US, but pretty damn significant amount. So now Merz is hurting in where it counts. Now, when we talk about Russia, yeah, so the thing with Russia, yes, their economies, because of what's going on with the war and things, is unstable, but it's not crashed. It's not going to crash. Some people want me to say it is, but it's not. They are somewhat dependent on the US dollar too. And you're like, why? What? Well, it's because they have not completely rid of the American dollar yet. They're still using it in trade and oil and goods. They're not completely rebels right now. They're still dependent on the US dollar, as many countries are. So many countries are connected to the US dollar. And if they're not, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, we all still fucking owe each other. We all still owe each other. From Peter to Paul to Adam to Eve, all around the freaking world. You owe me, you owe me, you owe me. Pay up, pay up, pay up. We owe everybody. Every country does. So I don't know why we're doing these tariffs sometimes. I'm like, why are we doing that? Or why is everything so hard on one country? Well, when you put yourself into a proxy war and you start throwing out your tanks, your weapons, your money that's used to borrow from Peter to Paul, and it goes into a proxy war. Well, these things happen. Eight of Wands. See, the United States has to prove that they're still on top of everything, still number one to some degree. And I'm going to say this, and after all, Trump was passed down Biden's debt because Biden, or inherited Biden's debt when he came into power, because Biden gave out a lot of money, not just to Ukraine, but around the world. He gave out a lot of money. A lot of money. 46 gave it all away. Print, 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 baby. It was horrific. Billions. Sleepy Joe. All right. And I get the feeling that Trump is trying to reconsolidate. See, we are dependent on getting Greenland, the United States. Trump. It's in reverse. We need Greenland for, not just for the military compounds and the bases and this Arctic BS, because we're afraid we're going to go to war with China and Russia in the Arctic Sea. That's BS. We need the minerals to some degree. We need what resources we can get from Greenland, and Trump knows that, whether people admit it or not. I've always been really interested in how the economy works globally, not just here in the US, but just around the world. It's like, as you dip into it, you don't have to be a psychic or a light worker. Just know economics. It's everybody owes. It's like a chain reaction. And then I'm going to end the video because it's almost 20 minutes in. There's a choice that needs to be made. I don't know what it is. Well, I do know what it is. This looks like Elon Musk to me. Okay, so there's something that's going to come out regarding Elon Musk. It will most likely be connected to AI, probably robots. Yeah, it's going to be here in the United States, robots. And it's not that Elon is inventing these robots. I feel like there's another company that's already in the making who's doing better than Elon on a technology level. But they're going to use Elon, use his face for sales, for commission and sales, because everybody already knows Elon Musk, and this company, nobody knows them. That's weird. That is strange, but that's what I'm getting. Okay, guys, thank you to my day ones and my new subscribers. Thank you to my new members only. I hope you guys are enjoying your content. Stay strong, stay resilient, and hype the videos when you get the opportunity to do so, if you're allowed to do that. Not all of my videos give the option. I don't know why. I don't know what that means. But anyways, I will see you guys soon, and thank you all for watching.